What's going on, guys? Indy here with Ultimate Tool Reviews, and I am actually really excited for this video. This is pretty much the holy grail of Makita impact drivers. Now, if you're wondering, hey, why would I say that? It's kind of an interesting answer here. Now, this is the Makita oil impact. This is the XST01. Makita does not use a 01 on a lot of stuff. They like to, of course, use sequential model numbers. So, like right now, we're on the XDT19 impact driver. For the current just regular, mechanical impact drivers there. So Makita, as far as I'm aware, has really only made one model of oil impact drivers. They call this their oil impulse, or like they say up here, soft impact. It's going to be a 3-speed. It does have a self-tapping mode as well. And of course, we got a battery indicator on here, because this is a impact driver that was made before Makita started having a lot of the fuel gauges on their tools. Now, luckily, this is still, of course, a star type of tool, which means it has some of the extra protections, circuit protection, overvoltage protection, a lot of those things on this tool. It was kind of in one of those, transition phases Makita was doing with the old batteries, going to the new batteries kind of thing. So not a very common thing you'll see nowadays on the, smaller tools. Not really going to see a battery indicator on those tools much. This thing only has about 355 inch-pounds, which, most impact drivers now have well over 1,200. And so when you're thinking, hey, this thing is really, really underpowered, and yep, you're totally right to think that it's very underpowered. But what makes this thing such an amazing impact driver? Well, it's not the weight. This thing weighs about 3.5 pounds. It's not like it's super light by any means. But if you see my previous videos, or you ever try one yourself, the Milwaukee Surge, the M18 Fuel Surge, also another oil impact. Hikoki has one, not in the US. Mitsubishi does not have one. But what makes these impact drivers so unique and so good is that they are super quiet, and they actually have very little vibration. So they're actually just a dream to use. Now, I use the Surge quite a bit. You can find them relatively cheap on eBay, 60, 70, 80 bucks. They're pretty much, all over the place. Milwaukee has, but as they should, they have a lot of great, deals on those things. Makita, on the other hand, is like, you know what? We're going to start this thing for 240 bucks and never update it for a decade plus. And this is what Makita has done. They sold this thing for pretty much, a super high price point, not in a kit, just tool only. It's still $240. And I've been hunting for one of these things on eBay for probably since I started my channel over 2 years ago. Very hard to find a good deal on these. I finally found one that actually worked and wasn't totally, beat up for 50 bucks on eBay. I pulled the trigger so fast on that. Buy it now. Finally got it here. Now, this, of course, is made in Japan, so very cool. That's part of why it's super expensive. This is actually 9 years old. It does have one minor issue, which is usually a pretty easy fix. I've actually seen this before. My brother-in-law had this happen to one of his impact drivers as well from Makita. Makita's weakest point on these impacts is usually the trigger, and so what happens on this thing is I'm on full speed here. Sometimes the trigger doesn't register, usually it gets dirt, and doesn't register the full, basically, press of the trigger, and doesn't put the impact at the full RPMs. You can kind of hear, if you listen closely here, there. And it'll kind of surge up or down on the RPMs ever so slightly on some trigger pulls. Once you kind of get it moving, it stops doing that. So I'm going to actually pull this thing apart in another video and clean up that trigger and basically clean up the whole thing, the whole shell, make this thing look as new as possible. But I'm going to do that in a separate video. What I want to show you guys today is why this impact driver is so awesome and has such good reviews, and why Makita keeps making this thing. And one thing I can't answer is why no one makes a second generation of this. Milwaukee has had a Surge out forever. They've never updated it once. I know Hikoki's had it. I think theirs is pretty new. I have not really had any information on that. But I'd love to check out that one. I know it's really pretty expensive too. But the Makita is just amazing. I mean, it actually still looks like a pretty decent new tool for being, 10 plus years old, however long they've been making these things for. There's no like crazy specs in these things that are like going to blow you away. It's 32 RPMs a minute. The, of course, impact rate is pretty slow too. It's nothing too crazy. Nothing to be like, wow, it's nothing amazing there. But listen to this thing as I put some screws in, and I'll do the slowest mode here first. Just listen to this and notice how smooth it is to putting these screws in. I mean, that is just, it is so smooth. The vibration on my hand, it feels like it's almost not there. It's just so clean, and I can talk over that too. It's not like it's super loud by any means. It's just a really just smooth, quiet impact driver. And I'm sure they stopped probably, updating these because they maybe can't find out a way how to get more power out of these. But the oil impact I think would be a real big seller if they really pushed these more and didn't charge $240 for them. So let's go to speed 2 here and check this out. Again, super smooth there. I slipped off because I was pushing a little hard there. Let's go to the max, power here. Again, there's no reason to put this thing up against anything else because, I mean, this thing is, it'd be hard to find impact driver nowadays. Even the cheap Amazon ones that, have the same or less power than this thing. It is very, very low power. So, it's still got some speed to it. I'm, of course, using just like 1.5-inch drywall screws for this test, because anything larger, this thing will just bog down super fast. It's not designed to, race in lag bolts against the latest M18 fuel impact. It's not designed for that at all. It's for very delicate work, but when you're still wanting an impact, it's kind of above, a drill driver or just like one of those little screwdrivers that Makita makes. A couple other brands make those as well too with the clutches on them. It's kind of something to slot in between like a screwdriver and a compact impact driver, I would say. But if you're doing a lot of just like small to mid duty screws and you want something really silky smooth, you don't want to be making a bunch of noise. I'm pretty sure Milwaukee made theirs because they wanted to give guys a solution that we're working on. I believe a lot of metal work, things like metal studs, and they want to keep it quieter. That's a great way to do it because you don't need a lot of torque, but you need a lot of RPM. This is a great option for you. But this thing is absolutely amazing. I'm surprised after 9 years, this thing still works fantastic. I'll fix that trigger here in the next video pretty easily. And I'd love to clean this whole thing up and really make it shine like new. But is this thing worth it, guys, for $240? I would say it's worth it if ever went on sale. But if you can find one used, that's a good way to find them. And of course, they're Makita. They hold up pretty much forever. They're fantastic tools. But just listening to these things, put in screws here. I'll keep talking and put in a screw here. And I mean, you can just tell just how quiet this thing is and how smooth this thing is to use. Absolutely incredible here. It's just, little taps there. It's really not like a super loud, tap there. It feels like almost like it's just like a bit of an oil impulse. Like it's like a fluid how it feels. A very unique feel to it. It's not like the hard hits of a regular, mechanical impact driver. Very, alien, I would say, how it feels. But absolutely love this thing. I've been hunting for one forever. And definitely a really cool tool to check out if you're really into Makita. But if you're looking for, a top-end impact driver that is designed to really, work really, really smooth, not be the most powerful thing out there, but you want an impact driver that's really going to, save your hands, save your ears, from, just loud, lots of vibration. This is definitely the way to go. And I am really happy to check this thing out. Of course, there's something really speed tested against. It's really just all about the feel and sound of this thing. It really makes it stand alone and be really unique in that Makita lineup. So you want to drop $240 on it, I think it's worth it if you're going to use this thing literally every single day. Guys, I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check it out. But thanks again, guys. Take care, have a great day, and stay safe out there.